crocodile. The mere mention of its name can strike fear in the human heart. Is this because it's a vicious and violent killer? But this man can kiss crocodiles. These efficient predators outlived the dinosaurs and have deadly hunting equipment. They know a meal will walk right into their home. When that time comes, you'll see the killer instinct of crocodiles. Many perceive the crocodile to be a monster, a throwback to the dinosaur age when savagery ruled the land. The animal's unpredictability a constant threat to human life. Rob Reddle will tell you nothing's further from the truth.
In fact, crocodiles are almost totally predictable. Now, I've been playing with these creatures for 29 years every day. Now, very early in my piece, I discovered they operate on total instinct, which in turn makes them almost totally predictable. Hence, I'm still alive today.
We're going on a journey with Rob to find out more about crocodiles by studying the Australian saltwater crocodile, the fiercest of them all.
If you do get attacked, always keep a tree between you and the crocodile. Just remember that.
Along the way, we'll discover we can live alongside this so-called monster. Just like its crocodilian cousins, the alligators, gavials, caiman, and other croc species, they've been the dominant predator in their habitat since the age of the dinosaurs more than 200 million years ago. Going barefooted, Rob Reddle has been catching animals like this since he was a young boy. He started Australia's first successful crocodile farm with his father. Today, he and his brother Joe run the Barefoot Bushman Wildlife Park at Airlie Beach in northern Queensland, Australia.
You should never trust a crocodile. Now, if I put this bucket within range of his head, you'll see straight away he reacts to it.
He wants people to share his love of the natural world, and he does this with an uncanny ability to handle the world's most dangerous animals.
If I drop it right in front of his nose, then he has to have a look.
He stresses all of his animals are in as natural a state as possible. None are drugged or tame.
Come on, yes. I'll just drag him out the water a bit further for
you. Rob uses his experience and unique understanding of the creature's instinct to his advantage. Using these skills, he will examine the physical adaptations that perfectly suit the crocodile to an amphibious lifestyle. We'll also discover the truth behind their attack methods, as Rob demystifies the many myths, such as the infamous death roll. We'll hear from victims who have been attacked and live to tell their tale. And finally, we'll see that with greater understanding and awareness, humans around the world can learn to live with these fantastic creatures instead of driving them to the brink of extinction.
The crocodile is a much maligned reptile, feared more through ignorance than reasoned thinking. In fact, this crocodile here has a brain exactly the same size as 2 joints of that finger. This bigger one here, that was twice the weight of what I'm sitting on, has a brain as big as 2 joints of my index finger. There. Now, it's not cunning or intelligence that's kept this animal alive since the age of the dinosaurs. It's just prehistoric instinct. That's all. Good enough.
But how and why did these creatures survive conditions that killed off their cousins, the dinosaurs?
I put it down to luck. Like the T-Rex, the crocodile is a reptile. But unlike the T-Rex, he didn't die out. He adapted to an aquatic environment. He's what I call the lucky animal. He lives in water, and just about everything on the planet has to drink. He can hold his breath for 3 hours too. And as soon as they put their nose in the water for a drink, bang, they're dead.
Within this aquatic environment, crocodiles found two things they needed to survive: hospitable habitat and food. The ancient crocodilians simply needed to lie quietly beneath the water's edge and wait for the next meal to come for a drink. Rob reckons it's like living in a hotel with room service. "23 different species of crocodile, alligator, caiman and gavial now inhabit our planet. Although all are carnivorous, each differs slightly in appearance and temperament. Their hunting methods are still very similar, adapted to the size of the prey. In fact, it is their differentiating diets that have helped create their primary distinguishing feature: the shape of their head. Crocodiles are recognised by a long, triangular snout, enabling capture of larger prey as they grow in size.
If this one here was to actually bite you and take your head first, for argument's sake, and took your head into his throat, that's how you would look in his mouth. Just your legs would be hanging out of his mouth, and that's all. So he can eat the whole torso of a human in a single mouthful.
Alligators and their close relatives, the caimans, have broad, flat and rounded snouts. The American alligator lives mainly in freshwater swamps and bayous, the Everglades of Florida.
One of the most commonly asked questions is what tells the crocodile from the alligator? Well, basically alligators are just another kind of a crocodile, but it's this tooth here. In the alligator, this tooth here actually fits into a socket in the top jaw, so when his mouth is closed, you can't see that. Now, when he closes his mouth, you'll be able to see that tooth. But it's basically that tooth there that does it. When he closes his mouth, it's there, mate, you can have it if you want to. You'll see that tooth actually fits into a little hollow there where the alligator's actually fits into a socket. So when the alligator's got his mouth closed, you cannot see any of his bottom teeth. They're all stuck in little sockets.
Yet out of all 23 crocodilian species, only 3 can be considered potential man-killers: the Indo-Pacific and the Nile crocodiles, and, to a lesser extent, the American alligator.
In fact, the reputation of the crocodile as a man-eater has been greatly exaggerated. We've only lost 13 people to crocodiles in the last 20 years. Yet here in Australia, every year, 3 people are killed by a falling branch or tree, both acts of nature. Yet we don't hear the call for entire forests to be cut down, do we?
After the break, we'll track the lifespan of the crocodile, a continuing struggle to eat or be eaten until it's large enough to become the king of its own territory. Out of all crocodilian species, the Indo-Pacific, better known as the Australian saltwater crocodile, is the largest and perhaps most fierce of them all. It can weigh in heavier than 2,000 pounds and grow up to 20 feet.
Come on, up. Big. Come on, big. Hey, mate, go back. Size is possibly the biggest furphy about crocodiles. You always hear about the giant fellow. Any book you pick up, 10 metres. But myself, I've not found any evidence of a crocodile much more than about 5.5 metres long. Now this one's 4.5, and he looks big enough. His girlfriend over there, she's 10 feet long, but he looks twice as long. So you can understand how the stories come about. Exaggeration.
The truth is, the crocodile has no need to get any larger than 20 foot long. At this size, it's large enough to take the biggest of animals. But to actually get to this size, a young croc must have luck on his side. Even before this gifted hunter hatches from an egg, it itself is the hunted. In November each year, as the big wet approaches, female crocodiles begin building their nests. Night after night she will build. 1 minute of activity will be followed by 5 minutes of rest. It's a slow process, but ultimately 2 to 3 tons of material will be scraped into a large mound.
She's actually got both the legs positioned, holding herself off the nest, so little eggs are going to be dropping into a hole. Her feet seem to be funneling the eggs down, in fact.
Finally, she will lay her 50 or so fragile eggs.
There's one. Now, this is the first time this has ever been filmed. Taking an egg from a crocodile as she lays it. Going to drop another one. See the stomach going?
From this moment, and throughout the 90 days of incubation, the nest is under threat. Already this water python has snuck into this half-buried nest. Quickly pounces on the few uncovered eggs, devouring them whole before being detected. Unfortunately, although his hunger has been satisfied, he's dawdled too long. The hunter becomes the meal.
This mound is a crocodile's nest. Now, what puts the crocodiles apart from most other reptiles is their maternal instinct. Now, it was once believed that crocodiles actually ate their young, but that's not true. They actually dig the eggs out, crush them if they can't get out, and carry the young to the water. They've got a very strong maternal instinct. Now, this girl can't see me, I'm on this side of the nest, but I'm going to poke my head up, and you'll see. Hello, sweetheart. There she comes, see? Yes, yes.
Nothing attracts a croc's attention faster than the sound of its young. These jaws of death instantly become jaws of life, now used to transport young to water. Unfortunately, a mother's clumsiness on land can hurt her cause. Although they remain near their hatchlings for several months, the parents can't offer total protection. It's this stage in life when the young croc experiences what it is like to be prey. Birds, large fish and snakes are now the feared enemy. It's a natural selection process that weeds out the weaker crocs. Those that live are those who remain perfectly still. Those best at playing hide and seek survive. It's this behaviour or instinct for self-preservation that will someday become a hunting skill. They learn the only reason to move is to attack. The prey? Insects and small fish. If the hatchling survives the first year of life, it will grow to about 3 feet, an amazing growth rate. Birds and larger fish are no longer the worry. Larger crocodiles are. For 8 years, this is the juvenile crocodile's life. Float, hunt, eat, and dodge the bigger crocs. Once they reach sexual maturity, the next stage of life is commenced, establishing a territory. It's the young male that faces the biggest struggle. Large males dominate territories, living and mating with as many females as they can defend. Any threat to their area by a young upstart will be severely dealt with. Ultimately, the young male must establish a home range to survive. But to do this, he must first grow large enough and strong enough to compete effectively. For many, the answer is to head for the open sea.
Young crocs can travel for hundreds of kilometres along the coastline, looking for a permanent home, but they have to return to fresh water to stay alive. Every time he does, he faces challenges from other crocodiles, until finally one day he finds a territory of his own. Ain't that right?
It's here they can thrive, dining on a regular supply of seafood, like this flatback turtle. Next, the physical armory crocodiles take into battle. The crocodile is one of the most ancient beasts in the animal kingdom, perfectly adapted to their environment.
There's no doubt about it. The crocodile's the top of the food chain. He's the king of the river. While I've been sitting here, Brian has positioned himself right here where he thinks I'm going to take a drink. Now, even though he's close enough to rip the head off, his brain won't let him do that. He's got to wait for me to get within range. If I splash over there, you'll see nothing happens. If I splash, nothing will happen. I can even actually put my hand in the water if I like, people. But if I splash something, instant reaction from him. Gotcha. Evolution has been very kind to the crocodile. His physical adaptations begin with these large bony plates in his skin called osteoderms. Now they form a sort of armour in his thick skin. Make a good bloody washboard too. You can hear that? Solid bone.
Crocodiles are physiologically the most advanced reptile, inside and out. Their internal anatomy bears more similarities to birds than reptiles.
Well, crocodiles have got the most elegant, sophisticated hearts of all of the reptiles and all of the vertebrates in the world. They've got the four-chambered heart that we see in mammals and birds, which means that oxygenated blood is kept separate as it goes off to the lungs and the rest of the body. But crocodiles have got a really special trick because they can also divert blood away from the lungs when they dive. And this means that they can probably prolong the time they spend underwater.
big crocodiles can hold their breath for a long time. I personally reckon about 3 hours, because one big one I caught was underwater for an hour and a half towing the boat. But strangely enough, if they get caught in a fisherman's net, they panic. They can drown in minutes.
Every inch of the crocodile's body is built for water. The tail's rhythmic, powerful strokes makes them swift and agile swimmers. They're also assisted by webbed hind feet. On land, it's a different story.
Probably the worst misconception about crocodiles is the fact that they can run fast over a short distance. 50 metres faster than a horse. Ta-ta! Come on. Come on, yes, come on. Come on. Come on, yes, come on. Come on, yes. Come on. Come on, come on, you can do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, yes, come on. Come on. Come on, come on. Come
The
on.
truth is, the bigger this animal gets, the more slow and clumsy they become on land.
3 metres.
A big croc's movement is laboured on solid ground, restricting them to walk only short distances before needing a rest.
Come on. Kachanka. Here I am, come on, you can come back in, come on. Come on, come on. Come on, yes, come on. Come on. I mean, really, with legs like that, and a body like that, and a tail dragging behind him, does he really look like he can run fast?
In the water, the crocodile becomes an awesome hunting machine. Its greatest asset is the ability to remain almost totally submerged, camouflaged for ambush. Only the eyes, ears, and nostrils are left above the surface. Each are located on top of the head. The eyes are close set and face forward, providing binocular vision similar to a human's. The nostrils not only provide air to breathe, but give the croc an incredibly complex sense of smell. And the ears. Crocs are capable of hearing high and low-pitched noises outside the human sound spectrum. They can pinpoint the location of potential prey by hearing alone, aided by small, pressure-sensitive pores on their skin. Underwater, a third see-through eyelid acts like a pair of swim goggles. For smaller crocodiles like freshwater crocs and alligators, this is an extremely valuable tool in the hunt for fish and crustaceans. But for the big boys like this salty, it helps them maneuver right to the point of attack. This is where they unleash their most powerful weapon, their trap-like jaws. A croc needs powerful jaws to hunt big game. Their jaw muscles are designed to exude at least 1 ton pressure per square inch. This is a trap few can escape. Coming up, we'll see how all these weapons are put to use in attack, and we'll dispel many of the so-called crocodile hunting facts. Since earliest man, crocodiles have been the source of stories, myths, and legends. Many are still around today.
Now, some people think that by the way I play with my crocodiles, they're tame. But what I'm going to show you here is what happens if I was to fall over.
A crocodile attack is one of the most sudden and violent events to be witnessed in the animal kingdom. Many perceive it to be an act of sheer cunning. In fact, it's the perfect correlation of instinct and physical ability.
If you're a bit of a dummy and you happen to walk in the water with a crocodile, look,
crocodile will attack for two instinctive reasons. One is to eat, the other is to protect its territory. As they say, it's the croc you don't see that will kill you.
Now, I treat my crocodiles here like another crocodile. So if I'm not feeding them, I'm in their territory, so they chase me out. If eating me was on his mind, he would have come to me under the water so I couldn't see him, to get as close as he could before attacking. On this side of the lagoon, Gallopin goes into the hunting mode. He doesn't want to frighten me away, he wants to eat me. Now, if I drop a piece of meat out of range, you'll see nothing happens. If we drop another piece within range, that's that.
But a crocodile does not chase away potential meals. This would be counter to their primary and instinctive hunting strategic, the element of surprise. This wild pig has just entered a croc's territory. Although wary, the lurking crocodile has noted its presence. The perfectly camouflaged hunter calmly sinks below the surface, making little more than a ripple. It methodically approaches, using its third eyelid to navigate and position. If visibility is poor, the croc will slowly rise for another pig. This may be the only chance the pig has to see what's coming and flee. Once the croc resubmerges, it will then use its hearing and those pressure-sensitive skin pores to detect vibrations. Now, the odds are stacked in its favour. It's a waiting game. If the pig gets within the croc's strike range, it will die. In an instant, everything combines to direct the attack. The croc is propelled towards the beast by its powerful tail, allowing it to lunge half its body length. Its eyes have been pulled into the eye sockets to protect from tusk and hoof. As the jaws snap down, the bones of the pig are crushed. Death comes instantaneously. The carcass is randomly munched to tenderize the meal while positioning for maximum bite. The large reptile then bites down to create a perforation and executes several vigorous shakes. If this method doesn't succeed in breaking the excess free, the croc will begin rolling.
What I'm going to do here is explode the myth of the death roll. I'm going to take this pig, hook it over this post so the crocodile can't get it, drop it in on him. When he grabs it, the first thing he'll do is shake it. When he finds he can't take it that way, then he'll roll. That's only because he thinks it's a big animal, he can't get a piece off other than that. He has to roll to break a piece off. The teeth will actually go through, make a dotted line like on toilet paper, in halves. See a shake at it first? Oh, you took the head clean off, I think you did. And you can see what happened there. When he grabbed it, he gave it a shake first. When he found he couldn't break it off, he then started to roll, which tore the head and the front leg off. So it shows you what could happen if you grab hold of your arm. Rip it off at the shoulder. Yes, go on, get it. There he goes. There you saw the shake, couldn't get it, then he went in the real roll. And you see, fair in halves, the pig's clean in halves. Pulled that post out of the ground. Imagine if that was your arm or your leg. Here he is. Now you can see, he's got a piece in his mouth about as big as his head, and that lasts him a week or so.
Another myth is the croc's use of its tail to swipe victims off their feet. In Rob's 40-plus years of living with crocodiles, he says he has never witnessed an attack in this manner. The animal is built from head to tail for forward attack. why would it position the best weapon in its arsenal, its jaws, away from the target? Coming up next, we'll tackle the myths surrounding human attacks and meet one brave soul who lived through such an ordeal, but still wants these incredible reptiles protected. Working with crocodiles on a daily basis, Rob Riddle says you learn how to read the reptile, know their strengths and weaknesses.
You might
He
know
has
it's
to,
almost got into his mouth.
otherwise
Get
his
him out of
next
the
show
water,
could be
people.
his last.
Come on.
Rob admits it's a bit of showmanship, a bit of excitement for the tourists, but it's all done to demonstrate that once you learn this animal's instincts, you can predict its behaviour.
You might notice if I put it in his mouth, though, he'll crush it rather gentle because it's dead. There's no reason to kill it.
Yet there are still many among us that believe every crocodile is a potential man-eater.
This simply isn't true. You just have to look at the statistics. In all non-fatal and fatal attacks in Australia in recorded history, all attacks happened in the water. And they were struck by crocodiles of this size or larger. Hannibal, around 4 metres long. Okay, fella.
The rules on avoiding an attack both in Australia and around the world are well documented and some would say fairly obvious. Yet attacks occur, and in most cases there has been one added ingredient that helped cause the fatality. Let's face it, humans are not exactly discreet when drinking. A hungry croc would have no difficulty lining up a careless drunk who decides on taking a midnight dip. In most cases, bystanders hardly knew the attack had even occurred. It's a simple case of humans not respecting this magnificent reptile and its environment.
Even here at the wildlife park, we leave the crocodile be a crocodile. In the wild, he lives in a hotel with room service. His dinner always comes to him. So here at the wildlife park, we do exactly the same. We bring the crocodiles a dinner to him. He never has to chase his dinner. Good boy.
Unfortunately, this plan only works if we stay out of the water. This is Rob Riddle's niece, Carla. On one wet and fateful day, she learned firsthand what it's like to be taken by a croc.
She wandered up to here, near this tree, and she actually just jumped down.
And I said to everyone, look, here's the pussycat of crocodiles. If there's any crocodile, Solomon's the pussycat of crocodiles.
He came around. As he did that, she sort of slipped over on a bump.
But then he grabbed me on my left leg, on the upper thigh, and picked me up and carried me into the water.
He dragged her into the pool. Come on. Into this little pool here.
And as I'm going into the water with him, I yelled out, help, Dad, help, Dad, Dad, help, you know.
I jumped over and grabbed her by the upper arm and I started to bash Solomon with the rake.
So he grabbed her on her arm as she got into the water around the shoulders, and as Solomon was there, he actually bashed him in the head like that with a stick a couple of times and actually let her go.
Before Dad could pull me out, he grabbed me on my pelvis area, and that's where I heard my pelvis go crack, and so I went, ugh. So he took the wind out of me, and then he started shaking me, and he only shook me a few times and took me right under the water.
He then, after a minute or two, let her leg go. But before I could pull her clear, he actually grabbed her by the pelvis and went crunch, and Carla let out a big groan at that time.
And then he shook her once, shook her a second time, and by that time Joe thought that if he shakes her a third time, she'd be dead.
So I threw the rake away and jumped across on his back and put my thumbs into his eyes. When I did that, Solomon let Carla go immediately and actually sank to the bottom of the pond.
I pulled myself up out of the pond to my waist area because I couldn't feel my legs, and in my mind I thought if I kick my legs, that's what attracts crocodiles, so that's a bad omen.
I remember asking her whether he still had her, And she said she didn't know because she couldn't feel anything, but when I worked out the distance between where her legs were and where I was holding his head, that he couldn't have had her anymore. So I then stopped wriggling my thumbs in his eyes. Then I decided, what do I do, you know?
He thought, well, how am I going to get off? So he launched himself off the crocodile in between that grass and just crawled out. Through the grass here, he sort of came up this way and he crawled out through the grass here.
Both Carla and Rob's brother Joe cheated death. Without her father's actions, Carla would have quickly perished. Joe's selfless action earned him bravery medals and even a knighthood, but he remains philosophical.
What I did was impossible. I would have said it was impossible to do. And you did it and walked away from it, so you know, it's a bit awe-inspiring sometimes just thinking about it.
There's a few people in our family that will fight to the end, and I'm one of them, Robert's one of them, and Dad's one of them, and Zeb's another one, that they won't chicken out. They'll put their life before yours, and I knew I was pretty right because Dad was there, and it's the same with all of us.
Years on, Joe passes Solomon's enclosure every day. You can imagine what must go through his mind.
I often walk past and think, I had my thumbs in your eyes, you bastard.
Today, after 32 operations, Carla is still receiving treatment for her injuries. But she still believes these are special creatures.
It was just an accident, and accidents happen all the time. I want to get back in there, and I just want to get back and be normal again.
After the break, we'll meet some people that don't share Carla's views, preferring to see these ancient reptiles driven from their habitat. All around the world, crocodilians are in trouble. Traditionally, they've been hunted for food, their hides, and even their musk glands are extracted to manufacture perfume. But today, their biggest threat is the loss of habitat.
Hopefully we're learning from our mistakes, because by the 1970s, we'd just about shot them to extinction. Now it's just lucky, because of people like my father, Joe Brettle, they've got a second chance.
Rob and his father, Joe Sr., started the first crocodile farm in Australia in the early 1970s on the Edward River. From a few captured crocs, they bred thousands. Some they farmed, some they kept for breeding stock, but many were released back into the wild to restock depleted river systems and estuaries. A similar program was occurring in the United States to rejuvenate the American alligator population. In both cases, it took less than a decade to see a massive jump in numbers. Yet, despite these actions, these two species are still in trouble.
It works with the alligator too, the stick. Makes him close his eyes. If I tap him on the nose, he should go away too. There you go. That's how they fight each other. Crocodiles and alligators, as you can see, very similar in nature. After all, they are related. Now you can't really sit on an alligator like I do with a crocodile. He's not 3.5 metres long. And I'd come away looking like this.
This is Cairns, in the tropical state of Queensland in Australia. Just like the Florida Everglades, it's a beautiful tourist destination. From here, you can visit the World Heritage listed rainforest or snorkel the Great Barrier Reef. With a growing tourism industry, Cairns is one of Australia's fastest growing cities. However, this rapid development is serving to dethrone the king of these waters. As humans and industry move in, government agencies are put under pressure to move the crocs out. It's forced the local Environment Authority to trial a crocodile removal program.
And if that door just slides down, just watch this, I'll show you.
Their aim? To trap and relocate all estuarine crocodiles found outside Cairns mangrove wetlands. It seems programs like this are becoming worldwide practice. In Florida, there have been only 10 fatal alligator attacks in more than 50 years. Yet, the alligator is also being removed. Only time will tell if programs like these are successful, but the question must be asked, where will it end? As humans continue to encroach on this creature's territory, pressures will only increase to remove the animal from its environment. However, even in areas that are assigned as the reptile zone, we cannot predict human behaviour. The sign says crocodiles inhabit this area. Most people heed the warnings. Others seem oblivious to the risk. But here at least, there is a choice. In many third world countries, there's often none. The luxury of crocodile removal programs don't exist, let alone the basics of running water in homes. The rivers and streams are used for preparing food, washing, and for gathering drinking water. These people have to use the natural resources to survive, and as a result, hundreds of people are taken by crocodiles in the third world every year. A warning, the following images may upset some viewers, for these are the horrific pictures of the results of such crocodile attacks. As we've seen, the croc does not discriminate. Men, women, children. It silently and patiently waits for the moment to strike. But the crocodile is not a man-eater. As Rob has proven, it acts entirely on instinct. How will it react to this dummy? Rob believes that by now, you'll know. Remember, the crocodile is merely using nature's design for survival. It's when we wander into its territory, we are more likely to participate in a cycle that's existed for millions of years. Next, we'll see why crocodilians are so important to the health of our planet's waterways. We've seen Rob Reddle's unique style in handling crocodiles. He shuns the word expert. He prefers to call himself a student of life. He actually learns from his creatures every day. Like the day he put 1 foot wrong in his croc show. A tourist caught Rob's close encounter on home video. Rob received several stitches to the back of his leg. Love bites, he calls these. He wasn't angry or dismayed. He learned from the experience because he respects these creatures.
He may not look adorable to you, but what I find amazing is what 200 million years of evolution couldn't kill off. We humans, with fear and lack of understanding, nearly did. And that's not a legacy I want to leave to my grandchildren. Go on, get back in there, go on, back in, back. Go on, back in, go on. Back in, go on, back in, back in, back in.
The legacy Rob talks about is more than just having interesting animals to look at in the wild or even in zoos. Nature has provided a delicate and evolving balance of flora and fauna. Time and again, humans have ignored that fragile system through ignorance and personal gain. What many fail to realise is that without the crocodilians of this world, the environment will suffer. Removing the top predator in the food chain is a dangerous practice. In Australia, kangaroos and wild pigs are already overpopulating many areas of the continent. Without the croc, they will spread even further. The fish, insects and microorganisms that feed off crocodile kill will also go without a valuable food source. As will the larger animals that prey on nests and baby crocs. Australia is like a huge version of the Galapagos Islands. In both locations, nature created fantastic species adapted solely to these unique conditions. The Indo-Pacific crocodile once flourished from Australia up through New Guinea, Fiji, and into India. Now Australia remains one of the few places in the world where estuarine crocodiles have a chance for long-term survival. Those calling for its removal need to realise we have a duty to protect our planet's natural and historical heritage, as well as preserve its biodiversity.
Well, obviously crocodiles are big, dangerous animals and pose a threat to humans, so there are always going to be places where we want to keep people safe from crocodiles. But at the same time, they're magnificent creatures in their own right, and I like to think that as humans we gain in stature ourselves if we recognise that, and if we make absolutely sure that we try and leave some places where they can be protected, some places where crocodiles can continue to be crocodiles.
Come on. Come on. My family's had around 200 years with wild animals. My great-grandfather was a farmer. My dad actually got a crocodile when I was 11. So I've had about 40 years of contact with these creatures. I've dedicated my life to animals. And I'm going to go on fighting in the hope that others may learn to live and respect these creatures we call crocodiles. My name's Rob Breville, and thanks for joining us on Killer Instinct. Hey, Solomon.